Good evening, good evening. How are you? Mr. Taboma Upa again here. Today I'm going to be covering Grade E Module 12 titled Basic Legal Aspects. Right, when we talk about legal aspects, we're talking about the legal rules, right? That deals with the security industry, right? The legal rules that guide the security officers in their line of work. For example, certain acts that we are supposed to use, like the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, which is powers of arrest. Such things, it defines the legal rules which binds the security officers in terms of arrest, searching and custody within the security industry. Right. Let's start with the objectives. The objectives of this module, on completion of this module, the student, which is you, the Grade E student, you must be able to be informed of the compulsory registration requirements for security officers in terms of Section 11 of the Security Officers Act 92 of 1987. That's objective number 1. Number 2, must know when a person will be qualified to be registered as a security officer, right? In terms of Section 12, subsection 1 of the Security Officers Act 92 of 1987 as well. Number 3, you must know under which circumstances the registration of a security officer may be withdrawn by the SOB, which is Security Officers Board, which is now called SIRA, Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority, in terms of Section 15.1, subsection 1 and subsection 2 of the Security Officers Act 92 of 1987. When can your registration be withdrawn, which means when can your SIRA be taken, under what circumstances? Right. Number 4, you must know the requirements of the SOB, which is Security Officers Board, now called SIRA, with regard to payment of annual registration fees in terms of the Security Officers Act 92 of 1997. That's number 4. Number 5, you must be informed of the existence and implications of the Code of Conduct for Security Officers in terms of Section 19 and 20 of the Security Officers Act 92 of 1987 as well. Then lastly, number 6, it's not the last one. Number 6, must be able to list and demonstrate his powers of arrest in terms of Section 42, subsection 3 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977. Number 7, must be able to list and demonstrate the methods of effecting an arrest under Section 39 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977. How to arrest a person, right? Those things like you're under arrest, you have a right to remain silent, or anything that will say can be used in a court of law against you, right? That is what they are talking about. Then that's 7. Number 8, must be able to describe the procedure to be followed after an arrest has been effected in terms of Section 50 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977. Okay. That's number 7. Number 8, must be able to describe under which circumstances articles can be seized after an arrest has been effected in terms of Section 23 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977. The seizure of articles, like the Section 20, which says seizure articles which the state may seize. So that's under Section 20, which means the police. Under Section 23 now, you security officer, there's things that you can seize or articles that you can seize, maybe from a suspect. Right. And then lastly, number 9, must be able to describe when a person will be guilty of an offense, that is trespass, in terms of the Trespass Act number 6 of 1959. Those are the objectives of this module, which is module 12, Grade E, titled Basic Legal Aspects. Basic simply means the beginning or the core of legal aspects. Let's look now at the aim of this module. The aim of this module is to define the legal rights of the security force or security officer with regard to the requirements for registration first, before you become a security officer, and custody and arrest within the framework of the law. Searching is also included there. All right. The introduction now says the law consists of legal rules and their nature and effect. The law is divided into different sections. Number one, we've got criminal law. The law of criminal procedure and the law of evidence are examples of such sections of the law. The security officer must have certain minimum knowledge of the law, otherwise they will not be able to perform their duties in a proper manner. If you don't know the law, how are you going to arrest a person under section 42? How are you going to seize articles under section 23? You can't, because you don't know the law yourself. Right. So us as security officers, we're using criminal law, which consists of, number one, consists of all legal rules which stipulate what human conduct is punishable, applicable thereto. Number two, conduct in which is punishable by the state is called crime. Criminal law thus deals with crimes and punishment. If you commit such an offense, you get 6 months. If you commit serious offense, 5 years, 10 years, just like that. Right. Let's look at the definition of crime, because we talked about criminal law, and then conduct which is punishable by the state is called crime. Criminal law thus deals with crimes and punishment, which is crimes that have been committed and how are they handled by the courts. That is the punishment. Definition of crime. Crime is any unlawful human conduct punishable by the state. That is your question 1 under module 12, basic legal aspects. Question 1 on the progress test 3, which we are going to do tomorrow, as well as in the final examination, the question remains the same. What is crime, or define crime? The answer is simply, crime is any unlawful human conduct punishable by the state. It's carrying 5 marks. Only that statement, definition of crime. All right. Let's go now to, since they said the legal rights of security officers in terms of registration, arrest, custody, searching within the framework of the law. Right. Let's talk about registration now. After you finish your grades, EDC, you are now liable to go and register with SIRA, or SOB, which is the Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority, which gives you a license to operate as a security officer within the framework of the law. Right. Section 11 of the Security Officers Act 92 of 1987, it clearly stipulates that for you to be able to be registered as a security officer, number one, you must be 18 years of age or above. They don't register minors, that is 17 years going down. So you must be 18 years of age or above. Number two, you must not have a criminal record. If you have been in trouble with the police and you ended up getting arrested, your fingerprints taken, you go to jail, forget about security. Because security, it's about trust. They don't hire just anybody. They have to vet you first if you've got a criminal record. That is requirement number 2. Requirement number 3, you must not have been found guilty of misconduct. What is misconduct before you become a security officer? Domestic abuse, right? Gender-based violence, this thing of behavior, drunken noise, stuff like that. It can also make you to have misconduct. Right, that's number 3. Number 4, you must not be of unsound mind, which means you must mentally, right? Somebody who is of unsound mind is somebody who is insane, or is mad, or is mentally retarded, or mentally disturbed. I think you know what I'm talking about. You cannot be a security officer, right? So that's why now they speak of, if you have been declared to be mentally unfit, then you cannot be a security officer. They want people who doesn't have unsound mind. Then number 5, no person can render, to render is to give, can render security services unless he is registered by the board. So nobody is allowed to work as a security officer unless you have the serial license, which shows that you are registered by the board. The board, SIRA. No company can give security services unless it is registered by the board. That's why you can have your CPRO company, just a company you register there for the intellectual property. But you cannot have a security company with that one. You must do the grades, go to SIRA, and then get your company certificate for SIRA. Then you can operate as a security service provider. That is number 6. Number 7, directors of a security company must also be registered by the board. Those are what we call the requirements for registration. They are sitting at question 2. both on the progress, which we are doing tomorrow, progress test 3, as well as the final examination. List 5 requirements for registration with CIRA. Number 1, you must be 18 years of age and above. 2, you must not have a criminal offense, or you must not have a criminal record. 3, you must not have been found guilty of misconduct. 4, you must not be of unsound mind. 5, no person can render security services unless it is registered by the board. 6, no company can render security services unless it is registered by the board. 7, the directors of the security company must also be registered by the board. Right. Then let's go now to section 15, because that was section 11. Section 15, subsection 1 and subsection 2 of the Security Officers Act 92 of 1987. The reasons for withdrawal. It's the ones they were talking at the objectives to say you must know under section 15, subsection 1 and subsection 2 of the Security Officers Act 92 of 1987, how your CIRA can be withdrawn, or your registration can be withdrawn or cancelled. So these are the reasons now. You already have CIRA, you are working, but if they find out these 4 reasons, they take it back. They don't take the paper. They just cancel you on the system that you are not supposed to render security service because of such reasons. So reasons for withdrawal are, number 1, if you give false information upon registration, because there is a questionnaire when you register, which is needing your information as it is. Do not lie there, because if they discover that you were lying upon registration, they will withdraw their CIRA. It can be suspended. It can be cancelled completely. So if you give false information upon registration, CIRA is gone. 2, if you are found guilty of a criminal offense, that is worse. If you are security, that's why all of us security officers, we avoid anything that can make us get arrested, right? We don't want anything that will put us in that line, because you know your CIRA is gonna be withdrawn and you won't be working. You can never work anyway, because all these companies, they check on the system. If your things are valid or not, then they find, okay, possibly illicit, or is it you got a criminal record, then you're out. That is number 2. Number 3, if you are found guilty of misconduct. Now misconduct, when you have CIRA already and you are working, it's like inside jobs. At the site where you are working, the people are now coercing you, or they are tricking you into letting them out with the stuff, right? With the idea that you're going to share whatever the loot. If you are caught, it's gone. That is misconduct when you are already working. It happened to me when I was a security officer, and I had to resign, to come out of it. Because the guys that I found working on that site, they included me in whatever they were scheming, and I told them I don't want. The next day I didn't come to work. Then I resigned under false pretenses that my mother was very sick, you see, which is a bad thing, because I know these rules. And the guys, 2 months after I left, all of them were locked up. There are no more security officers. So be careful about being led by colleagues or by any people. I've been working for the client to say, I'm going to come out with this. Especially at the staff entrance, they like to come with funny things, huggies and stuff. They say, no, let me out, I'll give you half of the money. You understand? Don't do that. That is the misconduct now when you're already in the security industry. Then your CIRA is gone. Then lastly, if you become of unsound mind, which means when you started working for that company, you were okay. Then, you know life circumstances, you never know. Then you are now unsound mind, and then they have to let you go until you go to a psychiatric evaluation and come with papers to prove that no, you are back to normal. Maybe they can rehire you, but as soon as you have unsound mind, you are done. Right. So those are the reasons for withdrawal, or the reasons that can make CIRA take your registration away from you. Right. So that is question 3, both on the progress and in the final. It says, list 3 reasons for withdrawal. I gave you 4. Number 1, if you gave false information upon registration. 2, if you are found guilty of a criminal offense. 3, if you are found guilty of misconduct. 4, if you become of unsound mind. So you're going to only pick 3 and put there on the answers. Right. We come now to the registration fees. They were also mentioned on the objectives, isn't it? Security Officers Act 92 of 1987. Every security officer or security service provider is liable to pay annually a stipulated fee to Syria, which means, like most companies, they deduct from you every month, but it's paid annually. So as to keep your Syria open. That's how it works. Right. Then let's go now to powers of arrest. Those are the powers that have been bestowed on you to be able to arrest people, to search people within the framework of the law. Section 42 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977 provides in this respect as follows. That is Section 42, which is called powers of arrest. A security may arrest any person, number one, with or without a warrant, meaning we don't need a warrant like police to arrest somebody. We see you committing crime where I'm working, I arrest you there and there. I don't need to go to court to apply for a warrant. No, security don't work like, we don't work with warrants like police. We arrest you, you steal this chocolate, I arrest you now. You steal the cell phone, now, not warrants. So we can arrest, that's why they say a security officer may arrest any person, number one, with or without a warrant. 2, who commits or attempts to commit a crime in his presence. 3, who commits an offense and is escaping from lawful custody. Somebody stole something, then is running past you. I can give you a 2 feet and arrest you and take you back where you committed the crime, and they'll arrest you. So we can arrest any person